this march together because in Chicago there's too much bloodshed in the African-American community.
Do you think Mayor Rahm Emanuel has failed Chicago?
Well, Ron Emanuel, first of all, is a con man. His whole job is to keep black folks divided.
No, he doesn't care about anybody but the people in his neighborhood and his family.
City's in financial calamity. You know, the organization in the city of Chicago is just complete disarray. No matter which angle you want to audit or look at, Chicago is a complete mess.
So you say that he cares more about the illegal immigrants that are in the city than the African Americans?
I said exactly that. He cares more about non-citizens. African Americans, we're citizens, and our ancestors built this country.
He got some good things, but I think he don't step up and come to the people where the crime is. You know what I'm saying? The crime is on the south side and the west side.
We have to make sure that President Trump recognized that not everyone believes that Chicago is a Trump-free zone. If he's serious about helping the people in Chicago, especially on the west side of Chicago, I accept his help. We can't turn any help away. We have to make sure that people understand that criminals cannot have their way with our streets. We have to protect our youth, we have to protect our seniors, and people have to have safe places to walk. And so, you know, one murder is too many. And so if Chicago Police Department and all the other law enforcement can't do it, we should seek other help.
Wow. Wow. That is something. Protesters in Chicago demanding Mayor Rahm Emanuel step down immediately amid the city's ongoing crime epidemic. Even Democrats calling on President Trump to come into Chicago to take action. Here now is Gianna Caldwell, Fox News political analyst and Chicago native. This is extraordinary. It goes so much against the common wisdom that particularly minorities in Chicago, the last thing they want is President Trump. They want to rely on the mainstream Democratic politicians. Not so, you found out.
Yeah, it goes against the politically allowed wisdom, David. I found that many people there are just fed up with the violence. One lady told me, and she was a older African-American woman, she said she can't even have her grandkids come and visit her because she doesn't want them to return in the casket. So when you see the fear, when you see the fact that Rahm Emanuel has been his inaction on the violence in Chicago, that many people fear even waking up because they don't know if a bullet is going to come through their window or not, you know that there's time for a change. And I really want to applaud State Representative LaShawn Ford, who is a senior Democrat in the state legislature.
Well, that's the thing. They are breaking, liberals are breaking with the Democrat establishment for their own safety's sake and for the safety of their community.
Yeah. Absolutely. And LaShawn Ford, he's on the west side of Chicago, and he has one of the hardest hit areas in terms of the violence. I remember one lady at the protest told me that her nephew was burned alive beyond recognition and put in a garbage can from some gang violence. When you think about that, you should scream for help because Rahm Emanuel is obviously not hearing the many residents in Chicago, especially the most vulnerable.
No, he's singing the party line, and the party line is more anti-police and anti the tough measures that you know. We went through the same thing, Gianno, as you know very well here in New York City. Crime got totally out of control. We had 2,200 murders a year. Then even liberals voted for Rudy Giuliani to come in and clean up the mess, and he did it by getting tough on crime.
Yeah. And then when you think about even that, you just mentioned the numbers. In 2016, that we found out by way of a study that Chicago had more shootings and murders than New York and L.A. combined.
Unbelievable.
That was under Rahm Emanuel's watch. So this continues to happen.
And that's, by the way, we should emphasize that's in raw numbers, and New York has a lot more citizens than Chicago, so it's way more per capita than you have in New York.
And Los Angeles too. We're talking about combined more than these are the two largest cities in America combined have more murders. Chicago has more murders and shootings than these two cities. This is ridiculous, and I think for me, especially being an individual whose family has experienced the violence in Chicago, my little brother last Memorial Day in a car with two of his friends when two men walked up and shot the car 25 times. brother lived, thank God, but his best friend, Bloody, died in his arms. So this, for me, isn't a talking point, David.
Well, and
Not at all.
the folks,
this is
lest
human life
lest
and a
you
personal
or
mission
the
now.
folks in Chicago get too depressed by the situation. What happened in New York is a lesson, because we went from 2,200 murders a year under Mayor Dinkins down to less than 400. That was a 4 or 5-fold decrease in the number of murders because what Rudy did, and he had a no tolerance campaign for criminals. He focused on the little crimes because he found out very often little crimes would lead to the big crimes that would lead to murder. Are Chicagoans ready to do that? Really crack down not only on the murders, but on the small crimes that lead to the murders?
I think Chicagoans are ready for a comprehensive plan. I wrote an op-ed which was released this week asking for President Trump to order his Attorney General Jeff Sessions and the FBI director to come up with a comprehensive plan to fight the violence in Chicago. In addition to that, I've called on President Trump to fund programs that would teach and mentor youth that are troubled. So these are people who...
Those are important,
who
Giano, but sometimes you have to do things that are very unpopular in communities, particularly minority, like stop and frisk, for example. Would they be willing to go that far?
I have no idea. I think at this point they're willing to hear some plans and some ideas that are going to stop the violence in Chicago, and I think that's most important. We haven't seen much of that. We haven't seen much action from Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and at this point people are hungry for safety because there's people that are literally leaving Chicago. My little brother doesn't even live in Chicago anymore. We moved him out of the state.
The good
2 weeks
news
later.
is you can foment change. It can be done, and even liberals will vote. I know. Remember, we had some liberals here at Fox News who eventually voted for Giuliani, like Alan Colmes, the late Alan Colmes, because things got so desperate here. So things can change. Giano, great work. Thank you very much for sharing it with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.